All right, I didn't see a video for doing this, so I figured I'll throw it out there. This is a 2013 Legacy CVT transmission removal install. I'm not going to do the install, but removal. I couldn't find anybody that had a video for removal. I usually like to just check to see what's out there so I can kind of guesstimate my time frame for doing it. So here's a quick once over. This is going to be the top side, so I'm going to remove the intake plenum, not the plenum, I'm sorry, the intake, go into the filter. I removed the throttle body. You could probably do it without removing that, but it's just so quick just to zip those 410s out. And you have this little spot right here that has this little black boot. Pop that out, and there's 4 12mm torque converter bolts. Let's see, that one hose right there is from the throttle body. There's a little bit of coolant in it, not a big deal, just a little drippage. This guy down here, you have a bar or something, that's a 22 mil to turn the crankshaft to get to all those bolts. 4 of those bolts, little guys. So you break them free, and then and you can just finger them right out, no problem. Other stuff on top side, obviously you're gonna remove the connectors for the valve body, which is right on top. You are gonna need something to support it, whether I'm on a lift, so I'm gonna be going up and down, so I have one of these to hold it, to suspend it, because the engine only has one motor mount, which is a front torque mount, essentially. And the mounts that hold everything are actually on the transmission. So you have to pull those off, which are not too bad. But you have to suspend the engine first, because if you don't, you start trying to take this mount out. This is how it sits. Let's see. It's like this. So these two go into the tranny. These two go down. This goes into the tranny. Super long bolt. And if you don't have the engine supported, it starts kinking because the engine wants to drop, and it's making it harder than it needs to be. Because really, once you break these bolts free, you can pretty much finger these out, as long as there's not pressure on the engine trying to twist and torque. Top side, what else I got? Bell housing bolts. There's one up here, one down in this pocket, and then 2 from down below. Same on the other side. There is a hidden one over here, just so you're aware of it. I don't disconnect the starter. I kind of just pull it out and shuffle it around. But there's one bolt here. I'm gonna pull this off. Let's see. One bolt up here that holds the starter in, and it goes all the way through. There's a ground right there. You can't miss it. And then there's from the bottom side. I get it from the bottom side. The bottom starter nut. There's a stud sticking out of the transmission. It does not go all the way through. But then right under that bolt, so that bolt sticks out, sorry, that stud sticks out for the bottom of the starter. And then there's a bolt tucked in there for the bell housing bolt. So that's kind of the hidden one. And then there's 2 more underneath there, a stud and a nut. A stud nut, and then a bolt that you get from down below. On this side, this is kind of the pain in the butt. So down here, this is the other, let's see if I can focus it without my light. There we go. That's the other motor mount. This bolt does not come all the way out. You'll be able to break it and then finger it out, and it'll run into the frame rail. But that's totally enough for it to, once you get, there's 2 more 17 mils. So that's a 17, 2 more 17 mils. Let's see, where's the other one? There it is. So one there, and then I still have to get the other one, which is right, where is that? Right there. But I'm gonna probably get that from the bottom side. And then these, let's zoom out. Oops, sorry about that. Where are we at? All right, and then those 2 guys right there are 14 mils. You gotta pull those. Those are Two 14 mil bolts. And then that should be it for the top side. As far as suspending the engine, they do have 2 hooks. So there's an eyelet back here. There's 2 eyelets, so be sure you grab it on the right one. There's one that is connected to the transmission, and another one right here that's connected to the bell housing. So grab on that one, and then right between the alternator and the and the AC, there's another eyelet right in there. Perfect for suspending right in center. I grabbed this at Harbor Freight. If you don't have one, I think it's like $70 or something. Well worth it for those times that you have something like this. All right, I'm gonna go to the bottom side and show you down there. All right, bottom side, you do have to pull the axles, which is a 32 mil. Pull this bottom ball joint. You can do 2 different, they have a style here where you could pull this 14 mil nut and then slide it out from here. Or you can pop it loose from taking this nut out on the bottom. Either way, both of those axles need to come out because you're obviously pulling the tree. But it also makes it a lot easier to get to these guys. So this is flywheel, a bell housing nut. It's a stud coming out from the engine, so that's going to stay there, but there's a nut there, bolt there, bolt there. Boom, boom, boom. 3, and then the one up on top. Now this side, let's see what we got. Same thing, so nut, bolt, the starter's right there, so right tucked inside the starter is that hidden one. Got 2 lines here that are just rubber lines. A little bit of CVT transmission fluid came out of that. What else we got? I was debating on pulling the exhaust. I ended up doing it just to, why not? They made it pretty nice. I did use a torch and just cherried up those nuts, make those come right out. It fell out. And you know, it's just these little things that I wish these engineers did more often. Like this guy, see this hanger? This hanger's on the exhaust. And this is actually like a catch. There's a metal bracket that just loops around here and bolts to here for the exhaust. You know, mates in there. But you know, you unbolt this guy, you unbolt that guy, you don't have to worry about it falling out. It just rests right here. It's like, why can't everybody be like that? You know, just it makes you feel thought of as from the engineers, because you work on so many crappy engineered cars. Like everybody has dumb setups. What else? We got the shifter cable. That was quick and easy. Got a pin through this guy and 2 12s. Got a bracket off. I'm thinking that's gonna be pretty much it. I need to get this guy off, that last bolt, and then I should be able to lift this mount out. And then I'm just gonna have this back tail shaft. And then I think I'm going to get my tranny jack and lift it and scoot it off. Let's see what happens. All right, got this guy out. And so on this one too, also, there's no mount here. On a lot of these, there is a mount, apparently. This one does not. So there's no mount up here that you have to remove. There's just the side units. Dowel pins, either corner or either 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock. 4 torque converter bolts. This is very heavy. It's really big. So looking up in here, this motor mount kind of stays there, but you kind of got to fiddle with it when you're trying to pull this out, because it twists and then jams and catches on the ribbing of the transmission, so watch out for that. And I'm gonna be honest, this was a very simple job, but it took me, I've been wrestling with separating it from the engine for about an hour and a half. Just absolutely ridiculous. Usually these just fall apart, no problem. I checked and rechecked, made sure I had all the bolts off for the bell housing. It was not releasing. So I was like, well, geez, maybe these dowel pins where they go in are corroded, and so I took my torch and heated up the aluminum, which you gotta be careful of, but heated that up, and I could grab the back of the transmission shaft and wobble it, and I could feel it kick back and forth, but it would not let go. It was just like, what? It was crazy. What I ended up doing was getting my ram. This is a wedge, so it pops it open. You gotta be really careful when you use that to make sure that you're not missing a bolt. Otherwise, you'll break things. I ended up putting it against the frame, cross member, and the tranny, and it just did pop. I mean, I had space. I had a screwdriver up here, but the bottom was just not releasing. So I don't know if it was just, I don't know. I honestly don't know, because I was watching to make sure, you know, you can lift up the 2 units and center the stud in the hole, because if it's too tight on the bottom, well, that means that one of them needs to go up or down. Everything was centered. It was just, I don't get it. But either way, it's out. Just one of those, just totally kicked my butt for absolutely no reason. It'd actually be nice if there was actually a reason and I could look at it and be like, good to know for next time or whatever. But whatever. I mean, look at, there's some corrosion up there. Maybe it was sticking up there. I don't know. Be sure you put anti-seize on these dowel pins when they go back in. Let's see, there's a dowel pin there, and there's a dowel pin there. So be sure you throw some anti-seize in there for the next guy. Because these CVT transmissions, this thing only has 103K on it, but these CVTs are garbage. They just, on any manufacturer, they're just not gonna, they don't have the longevity. Anyway, that's it. This is the video. Getting those out. Right, here's a quick closer. So, old tranny I pulled out, new tranny, well, used, new. These these torque converters, you don't want them to slip out, because you have to line them up just right to line up the pump inside. You got to have it right. If it's off a little bit, it's not going to go all the way in. And these sit out. They're not flush. They're about let's see. They're about maybe a quarter, probably more like an eighth. About an eighth of an inch sticking out. But this is something I made to keep this from sliding out. I would also use, if you make one of these, I would use it if you're swapping the engine too and leaving the tranny, because I just did an engine swap on another Subaru, and this kept coming out with the tranny or with the engine, because the 2 bottom bolts here, they'd come up and catch it and drag it out. I had to keep pulling that engine, I think 4 times when I was trying to reinstall it, because it would hit this and it would pop out of the pump and it wouldn't sit in. So anyway, this is what I made. Okay, so what this does, this sits back here in the starter hole. All right, you got this stud right here. Okay, so this guy can go on there, and it's gonna go like that. Now, there is room behind it, so I'm gonna put some washers back there so I can adjust, you know, I don't know if other Subarus, you know, are gonna be different, so I gave myself a little bit of leeway there. But then I'll put the nut there, and it's gonna grab right on the back side of that ring gear for the flex plate and hold it in spot while I put it up on the lift, and everything's shaking and shimmering around. I'm trying to line everything up, because that will be very aggravating, trying to get it up there, and you finally get it up there and then you look up and realize that the torque converter has popped out and you got to drop the whole thing. You can't just reach up there and push it back in. It's literally got like one home to fall into place, and if you just jam it into spot, you're going to break the pump, and then you got to get another transmission. So don't do that. So I just got, let's see, what was this? This was just a piece of 1/8 inch, and let's see, 1 inch. I think this was 4 inches long. Yep, 2 inch. So I got a 4-inch piece of plate. Yep, 4 inch by 2 inch. So I got a 4-inch, just square piece of plate, and heated up in a vise, bent 1 inch over, came down 2 inches, bent that over. So then it's like this, and then put this piece in the clamp, and had a 1 inch, this 1 inch here, bent that over, heated it up, charred it up. Otherwise, this was cracking, so it heated it up so it would be a little bit more malleable and not crack. And then for this, I used my grinder or my cutoff wheel. I just cut slits down and kept grinding them out. That way it can slip right down onto that stud and have some give. You know, it can be out here and there. It can, let's see, yeah, it can be where you need it to be, to you're not as fixed on a spot. It can sit down low, it can come up high, give you some room. Anyway, that's what that is. I would make one. It doesn't take that long to do, and it's totally worth. It'll probably take you a half an hour to do this versus having to keep pulling this out because that torque converter comes out. Just save yourself, and then just throw this in the drawer, and that's your new specialty tool for Subies with a CVT training.